Okay, good morning for the session of celebration of World Intellectual Property Day with the theme of IP and Youth, Innovating for Better Future. And my name is Sanjay Patel. I am the founder at Excelon IP, the intellectual property right law firm, where we provide all the intellectual property right related services. And as an initiation of the part of celebration of World Intellectual Property Day, we are interacting with young entrepreneurs who are doing or working on some kind of innovations and ideas which are making impact into the society of people or at the across the globe. So now today we have Mr. Sanjay Chauhan, who is the founder and CEO at the Shpero Health LLP, as well as assistant professor at GTU. So without wasting much time, now Dr. Sanjay Chauhan, please introduce yourself a little bit and something about your startups.
Thank you, Sanjay, for these wonderful interactions. So my name is also Sanjay Chauhan, and I'm the professor in Graduate School of Pharmacy, Gujarat Technological University, and also the founder of the Shpero Health LLP. So rather than to consider as a founder and the academician, the main important thing is academic entrepreneurs. So I'm working as an academic entrepreneur.
So little about your startups. Your startup is based on what kind of product or a service?
So the startup name is Shpero Health LLP. The idea to start a startup, it is started in year 2007. And the name is also decided in year 2007. But the actual legal entity is formed in 2017. So 1st May 2017, the actual name which is in my mind, that is come into the paper, and we have formed a company in a form of limited liability partnerships. We are developing a product for the treatment of anemia and erythropoiesis related disease. And at present, after the 12 years of research, we can say conversion of lab to market, the product name Hempoint is developed, and based on that innovation, our startup is recognized by the Startup India and give the recognition by the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, and also funded by the government of Gujarat. And at present, our presence is in the pan-India, as well as we are also doing the exports.
Okay, so you have a product named as a Hempoint, right? And you are addressing the problem of anemia and the erythropoiesis, right? So what exactly your product contains and how you derive that you want to focus on this particular area of healthcare?
Definitely, Sanjay. So now, if you can consider in India, around 55% of the populations are suffering from the anemia, right? And whenever we can thought about people suffering from the malnutrition anemia, what is the first choice is that iron, right? But can we think other than the preparation of iron, other than the hematinics available in the market, and those are from our natural resources, because India having a very wide and rich source of traditional medicine and herbal pharmaceuticals. So based on that, we can come up with the product Hempoint, which is contained fruit extract of the prickly pear, and it contains a very good amount of betalains, and that betalains which is responsible for the erythropoiesis. We have come up with its mechanism of action, formulations, and various studies. So we can say, as being the young India, the anemia is a major problem, and we are trying to solve this problem of anemia. And due to these resources, we have come up with the product Hempoint.
Okay, so you are addressing the major concern with respect to the malnutrition and anemia. And definitely there are many allopathic drugs or nutraceutical products are available, but you identified the natural resource which is available in nature, and from that you have converted this particular product, which is totally a natural based without any chemical and synthetic materials. without any side effects, right? And it effectively increases the hemoglobin level into the patients, right? Okay, so now during the journey, from where do you have the idea and now you have successfully commercialized your product across the India? During the whole process, what kind of intellectual property you have secured and how you benefited out of it?
Absolutely, Sanjay. Whenever we can develop a product from the natural resources, and as per our Indian patent laws, the product from the natural origin, it cannot be patented. But you have to do some innovations, some value additions, right? And based on that, we have identified the various aspects of this formulation. And first of things, we have developed a very novel method of extractions. So that is covers the process patents. Along with this, we have enhanced the efficacy of this raw material by means of the biotechnology assisted methods. So that is the innovations, right? And in addition to this, we have come up with a very novel packaging solutions. And recently, we got one industrial design for our packaging. Now it is into the pipeline, in the development phase. But we received that industrial design, and that is the whole innovations. One is the process and efficacy. That is the innovation and the indications. But in India, it is not patentable, but we are trying to convert with the value addition. Right? The process should be patentable, but the indication is not patentable. But through the PCT filing, we can go. This idea comes in the year 2007, right? When we have observed the people are taking the fruit of prickly pears to various diseases like cancer, increasing the hemoglobin. But our curiosity is that how it can be act. As a being the pharmacy profession, we cannot assume you can take this thing and it can be benefited. So we have to come up with the modern science approach, and we have convert our traditional recognition into the scientific evidence. And that is the whole innovation process we have come. But it takes a very longer journey, up to 12 years. And still we are struggling to come up with some of the things, because the pharma is a highly regulated market. So you have to comply all the regulations, and based on that, you can get the market approval.
Okay, so I really appreciate that you protected your intellectual property in early stage. So you have a process patent in place. You already got the design patent registration from the Indian government, and I think the Hemppoint brand and all this also you have a trademark registration, right?
Yes, definitely. We have the 3 trademarks. We have the Hemppoint is also a trademark, as well as the Shpero, that is the name of the startup. The logo is also trademark, registered trademark, and the word Shpero is also trademark. So I can say there is a 3 trademark, 1 patent, and 1 industrial design. So there is a 5 different intellectual properties are credited under our startup's name.
Okay, I really appreciate, and I want to convey the same message to all the startups over here, that if you have a product, try to protect it with all the multiple IPs. If you have a trademark, you have patent, you have copyright, you have design. Whichever is applicable in your product or a service, definitely try to protect it at early stage, so that it will create a barrier to the competitors who want to come into your particular business, right? Okay, Dr. Sanjay, now before closing the session, what is the one advice you want to give to the startups or the young entrepreneurs?
And definitely, I convey the message to all the young innovators and the budding entrepreneurs. Whatever the idea you have, you can protect that idea. Find the intellectual property, because each and every idea has the intellectual properties, right? So you can find which properties are there. The properties are in a different form. It may be a trademark, maybe a design, maybe a patent, maybe a geographic indication. So you can identify which property are best suitable to protect your ideas, right? And after the identification, first thing is that you can file. Suppose it is a patent, you can go and file the provisional patent, right? Suppose you have the name of any brand or some very catchy word in your minds about your product, you can go and do the trademarks, right? And afterwards, you can increase your intellectual property and its commercialization. because as I have observed, by this much of property if you have, the credibility of your product is increased, acceptance of your product is increased, recognition of your product is increased, right? Suppose I can say, under the name of my startup, we have the 5 intellectual property registers. So that is a very big thing. So I also convey this message: find the intellectual property and go for it.
Okay. It was really nice a message that when you have IP, you can always try to convince and also build a confidence to your customer, your co-founder or your investor with whom you are discussing, right? Okay, thank you, Dr. Sanjay Chauhan, for being with us in the celebration of the World Intellectual Property Day. Thank you once again for being with us.
Thank you, Sanjay.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on our social media pages to know more about startups and their innovative ideas.